Spirit of Matter here on December 2023 for Cancer Ascendant, Sun, Moon, or Stellium. And this is a moon day, Venus hour, Ascendant ruled by Mercury and midheaven ruled by Saturn. Mercury in Sag in the seventh, Moon has ingressed into Pisces, and it's conjuncting Saturn. And the Moon is, the ruler of your ascendant. But it can actually be good to talk about this because December for you, you have a full moon in your first house, and I called it blessed release. So I'm going to start talking about that one. So Saturn is ruling your seventh, and it's not only that, you've been having Pluto in your seventh, a little bit in your eighth. You got the taste of what Pluto is going to be in your eighth house, but you've been having Pluto in your seventh house, heavy, deep, transforming, and having a seventh house ruled by Saturn. Can we have a moment of silence for Cancer ascendants? This is a very heavy duty placement. It's a Saturn that matures at 35, 36. It's a Saturn that takes 28 years to go through your seventh house and light up the spark. It's a Saturn that requires structure, dedication, rest, commitment, spiritual enlightenment, and whatnot. While those can be absolutely terrific, they can also be experienced as confining. Add Pluto to the mix, and you understand what you're beginning to release when Pluto is entering your eighth house, which is eighth house, Pluto. So you're kind of like, I'm not excited for Pluto going into my eighth. Absolutely, you are right. But it's also going to be a blessed release from the seventh. You're beginning to have the taste of it whenever you have a full moon in your first house. Because full moon is about releasing stuff. And in this lunation, there is this blessed release, perhaps from the tensions that you've been, or the baggage that you've been dealing with, or the whatever you've been having, then having a full moon in your first house, okay? While you could be exposed, okay, this is true. Just saying, you could be exposed, but you could also be nourished and release some baggage. Nourish and let go. It's like, hey, I'm focusing on me. The moon is growing and becoming to a fullness on me, my body, my path, my needs met, or me as a caregiver or whatnot, and then I'm releasing. It's literally, it's kind of like a blessed release. I have been culminating and nourishing and filling myself up, so now I can release some pressure, release some tension, release some baggage that's happening. Okay, because it's a full moon, you could also be exposed. Okay, because it's you that is opposing the sun at 4 degrees Cancer and Capricorn. Okay, so you could be exposed, but also your partner could be exposed because it's the sun going to your seventh house. So definitely when it comes to one-on-one relationship with Pluto, you could be having a secret marriage, even because Pluto is hidden. There can be exposure. Okay, this is true to any full moon in your seventh and one axis. Okay, if you have been I don't know, dating for a while or something new in your relationship zone, whatever planets you have affecting that, now you could be going public. Or alternatively, if it's been about growing from a commitment, okay, and kind of releasing this connection, now you could be going public with your current commitment status, okay? Whether it's a business partnership you've been having or a one-to-one enmity or partnership, there is something that is being culminating, and there's a blessed release. Whether it's a press release, we're together, we're divorced, we're merging, we are separating, okay, our assets, there's a business thingy, or we're no longer enemies. Oh yeah, we do have this beef. And there is a blessed release about it, and you're gonna feel nourished and ready to release that. It's like, hey, that's a heavy load that I've been carrying, especially if you have ascendants around the first phase of Cancer. For those of you who are more like towards the end phase, Placidus, it's still in your 12th, okay? So you're gonna feel it on your body. Placidus, it's still in your 12th. So there can be kind of like a sweet release. Yes, it's the bedroom, but it is not as it's not as fulfilling in its release. It's not as filling up and releasing as it is for the first phase of Cancer. Okay. Before this full moon, you're going to have a new moon in your 6th house. So new moon in your 6th house can mean something like taking a pet, but there can also be some new enmity that's formed, some new health condition or health regime. Maybe you are tending to your health and making it news because Jupiter is in your 11th house, okay? So you're more in the public eye. So you could be you could be one of these people that are doing a vlog saying, oh, I'm going to start this new nutrition for my liver health. And I'm going to do follow me, because Taurus is fixed. It's kind of like follow my process, follow my journey with this nutrition. Okay. And this is it's a new start for you. And it doesn't have to be enmity. If you take it to the place of health and you tend to your health, if you're employing people, then there could be a new start there. So you could avoid some of the enmity effect associated with the 6th house. Or if it's taking on a pet, then although taking on a pet can, if the pet like poops in the neighbor's door, then you can have enemies because of that. But other than that, it can simply mean kind of good karma, good luck, your caretaking for your health, for your employees, for your pets, and then you get actually the good benefits, the good health that's coming up with this new moon in Sagittarius. Now let's go to Mercury retrograde. So there's another thing that picks up at your 7th and 1 axis. And this is a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. And that means that any words, written or not, that go between you and your significant other in business and or in marriage, or your opponent, okay, if there's kind of like an opponent and enmity, or simply competitor, it's just like important competitor, then you're going to need to go over, what have I said to my partner? What has my partner said to me? And this, Saturn is in Pisces, which is your 9th house. So your words might have to do with your worldview. There can be something of a misunderstanding of your worldview. Or there can be, Saturn recently went direct in your 9th house. So you might be reassessing your worldview. And now you are going over the communications. Like, yeah, I was thinking that in the past. Now I think this. And according to what it is in the position of your significant other, this could raise challenges, even separation due to worldview stuff because Saturn is in your ninth house. Or alternatively, this could actually patch up things where like, hey, I say that was not in place, now I think this, or I repent. Okay, the word repent with Saturn Pisces is strong. I repent what I said, and perhaps that was a better way to say it, or I repent what I said, I really understand things differently right now. And that can have to do with, anything Pisces, so healthcare system, COVID crisis, injections, refugees crisis. With Saturn can be also homeless going missing, kind of stuff like that. This was a missing spot. And now that agreement, like your significant other or enemy or business partner, would be responding to your new updated, up-to-date perspective, worldview, or yeah, here it's more worldview. It's likely not, even if you're traveling, it can be like your decision to travel when we are together, or your decision to not travel, or your decision to take on a degree, because it's your worldview. Okay, some choice that you make it that is in alignment with your worldview and is communicated in a certain way that you're gonna have to go over the agreements that you have. Okay, and update them because your worldview is getting a reality check. And that can mean you may have new enemies, you may have new partners, you may have new beef with your partner, or alternatively, you may have patched up things with enemies, with partners, business or marriage. And then you join that in the full moon, you can have this blessed release. Okay, that's no longer on the table. Like that we're no longer arguing about that, either because the boundaries Saturn have been set, and that's a no question. Like, you know what to expect from each other, or you repented something, or your partner repented something, because Saturn is ruling your partner. Okay, but your partner may have repented something that they said, and that depends on where their Saturn is, but it's affecting your worldview, or the way you view your partner has changed, or and you're communicating that. So it is heavyweight, but it's a much needed discussion, and things become clearer, more. And then the next thing is Neptune is going direct in your ninth house. And so with this Neptune going direct in your ninth house, now your view on Neptune issues. So again, refugees, exile, art, oceans, exile, faraway places, faraway lands, the perceptions of reality, psychedelics, what is real, what is not real, drugs, addiction, people who deal with addiction, the co-presence of some. Maybe your partner deals with addiction. Okay, and you have been viewing them, and now you have a stigma broken about people who deal with addiction, or your partner have a stigma broken because Saturn represents your partner, about people who deal with addiction. It kind of changes. It's another co-present contributor, and with Neptune you have to just surrender things. It's kind of like, oh, we were working so hard to deal with this Pluto in my seventh house, and I have patched things up, and I've communicated, and I've created, and I've let go, and you have let go, and you have this, and it is. Now we have this Neptune thing in our faces. It's kind of like ruining everything. Or alternatively, saving the day. Because we really don't know what's Neptune gonna do. But definitely things that have been missing for like very, 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 very decades long time can pop up, or some medical bill can pop up when you were traveling, especially if it's medical. It's kind of like medical bill for your traveling abroad, stuff like that, international medical bill. Or something can be, you got to notice something is missing, some detail is missing, or some way. And with this Mercury Saturn, it could be a concept. You said a word, and that word was like a tower of cards, and you're like, what was it? And with Neptune, you might have to go back and kind of like, what is it doing? And this thing pertained to your 11th house. So it's maybe something you said in a conference, something you exposed when you were speaking on, like on social media. If you have a business that has to do with the vlogs, or with your social appearance, if you're a spokesperson, if you do some teaching or something like that, because Taurus rules your 11th. So there's something, some word that you said, it was something as tiny, because Saturn is about details, Mercury is about small details, and then this goes to your worldview, to Pisces, and then this goes to 11th. Okay, so what is it can also be a word that you didn't say. Okay, you never mentioned that word or that detail or that thing, and so somebody felt neglected, or somebody felt betrayed. The fuck, what happened? Like, no. Okay, or alternatively, there was a word and you did intend that, and now it's like, well, what is missing? If it's an apology, but they want to hear, or you need to do something in a certain way. And with Jupiter being your 11th, you might have to do it in a more kind of a social media way, or you might have to publicly apologize to your partner or your business partner. And that can be something that's so much, it's going to be something about a word. If I think about the pro-Palestine demonstration where they have, I think it's the PLO chart where they have Mercury, Jupiter in Gemini, which is kind of Jupiter in detriment. And they have this saying kind of like, from the river to the sea, Palestine would be free. Okay. So a lot of people interpret this as genocide. I amongst them. And you could be saying that from, it's like, I'm supporting Palestine from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, da, 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 da. And you're not at all anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist. You're like, hey, just give some freedom to the Palestinian people. And it's that word that they want you to repent, like that's calling to a genocide. Okay, it can be something that specific that if you don't say it, if it's missing, there's conflict, or alternatively, if it's present, there's conflict, and that is the word that they don't want to hear in the apology, or that is the word that they do want to hear. With Saturn direct in Pisces, the word repent can be, or something that's up to date, or some sort of reality check that you and or your partner have been having. And it can also be something that you are seeking for your partner to see publicly, and it kind of doesn't happen because it's just Jupiter is ruling your ninth, not theirs, something like that. So that now we've covered Neptune, Mercury, the lunations, and the next up is Chiron. I'm going to deal with Jupiter later. Chiron is going direct in your 10th house. So, if you have been having troubles to assert that I am a boss, and here is very much so, even if it is your boss, because it's Aries. Okay, Aries in the 10th. Now I am a boss. I am a commander. I am this, I am that. And now, if you've been having troubles to assert that, to kind of like, hey, I'm the boss here. This is my vision. This place runs according to my rules. This business is me. I'm the founder of this business is me. Or I'm the founder of this, I don't know, whatever it is, your career involved. This brand is me. Now you're like, hey, 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 this brand is me. The brand, and the brand is my face. So you might want to put your face on it. You need to see where your Mars is, of course, natally, because Aries rules the face. You are the face of the brand. And so with Chiron, you as the face of the brand, or who you are, have been problematic to your public image. And it's not that there was a problem with who you are, okay? In the worst cases, it could be like, you know, I'm Bill Clinton, okay? But it was like, but in most cases, it's not that there's no problem with who you are. The problem was that there were certain things that you were not asserting. They're saying, I am the face of this business, of this brand. It's my name on it, it's my face on it. And it can be something that is so much as visual. You may be fixing your public image, changing your profile picture even. Because this is something that you're known for. This is the personal signature in your 10th house. And you need to see where Mars is, but the face, okay? Maybe we need to see your face more. It's like if I'm not seeing your face and Aries is in your 10th house, then unless you have like Mars in the 12th or Mars in the 8th, then it's kind of like if I'm not seeing your face, then who is running this place? If it's not your face on it, and if you could be like a corporate, but your face in the 10th house, it needs to appear, whether it's on the photo, whether it's on the brand, or something that symbolizes you. Then think about when you see Mr. Bean. Okay, so Mr. Bean is satirical, is comedian, and like when you see Mr. Bean, you see a face. I haven't seen his charts, so you see a face. You don't think about you think about Mr. Bean, there's a face popping up. Versus when you see Lamborghini, you don't see a face. When you see Maserati, you think maybe about Neptune. So that issue could be coming up, and now in whichever way that plays for you, whether it's an actual image or it's a personal signature or it's a famous saying that you have. Okay, think about René Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Okay, and now you're changing the way so you're touching on that wound, and you're asserting yourself like, hey, I am the face of this brand. I am the face of my public persona. I need to assert this image. So this is what I like for Chiron going direct, but because Mars is going to be squaring Neptune, and Mars is going to be squaring Neptune from your 6th house. Okay, so because Mars is going to be squaring Neptune, upon the change, there can be kind of like a, you know, it's like I'm the face of the brand, and you show your face, and then it's kind of like now, yeah, it's kind of like now you're maybe exposing yourself to some energy, but it's more 6th house, so it's less kind of like 8 or something. If you have got a connection between the 6th and the 10th, then it can be like your pet, or you think about Broody the dog, okay? And it's kind of like, oh, I'm putting the face of Broody the dog, and now you have a difficulty with, I don't know, PETA. It's just something weird like that. Or I am the face of the brand, and then there's some international WWF so that want to pinpoint you, and they're becoming like your open enemies at the service that you give to the world, and it's like, oh, that's the face of the person that does that. So now we have to think about something and sometimes to surrender the effects of what it's going to be, to say, I am the face of this, of my public persona. With Aries, again, unless your Mars is in the 12th house or the 8th house, or I don't know, conjuncting Pluto or something, you're going to have an urge that is needed, a total survivalistic urge, to be the face of your domain, of your public status, um, more so than others. Okay, you're gonna need a little bit of the what you see is what you get, um, that you can have, especially if your moon is in Aries. So it's kind of like, what you see is what you get. I am that person, um, because the ruler of the ascendant. So this is Chiron for you. And now, last but not least, Jupiter. Jupiter is going direct in your 11th house. And we already talked about how this Jupiter is ruling Neptune. Even if you take a traditional view where Neptune is not associated with Pisces, not at all associated with Pisces. How can you associate Neptune with Pisces? Drugs, addictions, exile, things going missing. How can you associate Neptune with Pisces? Okay, even then, Neptune is right now ruling Pisces, also ruling this Saturn, is also ruling your 7th house, ruling that Mercury is going to retrograde. So we talked about it's kind of like a neural network that's being lit. It's like Jupiter, boom, all these troubles come up to be resolved, absolutely to be resolved, but they are going to be magnified. And so Jupiter is going to make a lot of what you're dealing with incredibly public. The upside of it, okay, even if it's your benefic effect, the upside of it is that you're gonna have to tend to things, but also the upside of it is that you could be making a saleable course about how you dealt with 2023. Okay, it can become a course, it can become a teaching, and you're going to pinpoint the episodes around this. Okay, so you're going to use it to your benefit. And Venus is definitely going to go through your 5th house of creative projects, romance, and sex scandals. But also sex scandals because the Venus in Scorpio. Okay, she's not, but or gamblings or stuff. But then she's going to go into your 6th house, and now this reception, okay, from the end of December, this reception between this direct Jupiter and this Venus in Sagittarius in your 6th house can literally mean how I went through a crisis that affected my health and affected my relationship, and everything fell apart for me, and even my image was hurt by it, and I was trying to do something, but then it fell apart, and what I made of it. Very classic, and you can get kind of material gain from this, but also fix those issues through this. And again, you need to see if you're a night chart, you're gonna want to turn to Venus, kind of not when she's in Scorpio, and kind of tell her like, hey Venus, can you fix my Jupiter? If you're in day chart, then you want to go to Jupiter. It's kind of like, hey Jupiter, can you fix that Venus for me, please? Especially when she's going through Scorpio and that. So I think this is all for a Cancer ascendant. All in all, this is the tension and the blessed release. The lunation is towards the end of the month, and then Venus is going to ingress into Sagittarius, and Jupiter is going to go direct. So yeah, it's not that bad. Not something new to you anyway. So thank you for watching.